Jack here at JBF Music and Guitar Lessons. I'm back with one of these kind of analysis videos for you. This one's a bit different. I've got my guitar in hand here, and it's a song that I've already heard quite a few times before. I'm going to break down some of the music theory and interesting stuff as we go along. I'm going to pause and talk about what's going on, so if you want to watch the original, this probably isn't for you, but if you want a bit of insight as to what's going on, mainly focusing on the guitar, then stick around. If you enjoy it, doing the old like, the comment, the subscribing stuff, you know, all that good stuff really helps the channel out. It's very much appreciated, but let's just hop to it, eh? Done loads of Iron Maiden stuff before, particularly on Dave Murray, which you can get with the eye up there. So while I've heard this song before, this is a live version that I don't think I've come across before, so I'm looking forward to checking that out as well. Here we go. Right off the bat, there's a few really cool things going on. We're in the key of E minor here, and you'll hear that the bass is just kind of thunking on that low E, letting it ring out. What's also incredibly cool is we've got a bell which is also pitched. If the bell was pitched to a different key, a different note, it would sound horrible, but the bell is in E, so everything's got this nice kind of full sound coming through.
I'm waiting in my cold cell when the bell
You can't beat a bit of Bruce in his theatrics, can you, all dressed up like that?
begins to shine, reflecting on my past.
Another really cool thing going on here is Dave Murray's guitar part. So he's playing on a kind of clean sound and doing what he's called tenths. Oops, let's try and do that cleaner. So what he's doing is he's playing a note. He's playing a note, essentially a third higher, if you know your music theory, but then an octave higher than that third, so a tenth. So you get this kind of spaced out sound. You might recognise it from something like Scar Tissue by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You can get a riff, how to play that riff with the eye up there. Or something like Reptilia by the Strokes. Again, those use tenths. More contemporary song would be something like Hold Back the River by James Bay. It's got a distinctive feeling that's separate from using thirds for a harmony.
Life, and it doesn't have much time, 'cause it's fine.
So I pointed there because what happens is the harmony underneath changes. So we were on an E.
'Cause it's 5 o'clock.
Up to C, then we're going to go to a D.
They take me to the
Back to the E. And then this repeats, and it's just a great way of adding a little bit of movement to what is otherwise a fairly static harmonic chord progression or lack thereof progression.
The sands of time for me are running.
And again, you'll notice the bell is pitched with it. The bell is also moving up. It's not just a kind of naff sample, it is pitched to the music. Okay, I'm not complaining about an impromptu. Dave Murray solo is one of my favourite players. You can check out some of his signature licks with the eye up there. But what I was expecting them to do is go into the kind of heavier version, because basically they've taken that theme, the kind of, and then they make it heavier by playing it harmonised and further up the neck using bends. That riff also uses the harmonic minor, which gives it a bit more edge, a bit more darkness. So see when it goes all the way down to the last note that sounds a bit edgy and a bit tense, it's because of this note here, right, which is a D sharp from the harmonic minor. Just for reference, a natural minor would sound like a harmonic minor. The last note changes, which gives it a kind of more sense of finality and also kind of sorrow. So what they've done here is they've totally changed the theme up. They're playing a riff bit like, So it's still anchored in E, but what they're doing is taking the progression they had before, that E minor, to the C, to the D, but they've sped it up. C, D, back to the E minor. And again, this bit is still essentially going in E to C to D. But what they're doing to make it interesting is coming in from a fourth below. So you get these accents on a B to an E, then a G to C, then we've got an A to D. Right? So it just adds this kind of extra push to the chords. Also got this call and response going on, so the instruments are going and then it's just Bruce by himself, then the instruments and this kind of fill. And the fill. So we've got the same chord progression, the E minor, C, D, E minor. I suppose there's a fill there, you've really got an E, B, 5C, little fill like that. But it's the same theme they've had and they've just really developed it from the intro. Revisiting that theme. Then here, this is a really similar idea, so it's even in the same position. You know, same notes, but they're playing them in a different way just to keep it interesting. And here we're kind of getting a bit more groove going on to give it a bit of a kind of a sense of movement. Down to the C again. So here we're just going to E minor, C, and of course something I probably should have mentioned earlier, you got the Maiden gallop there. So a lot of people call it a Maiden triplet or a triplet. It's not a triplet. A triplet would sound like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What we have here, gallop, so it's a note followed by two notes of half that first note's value. It sounds more complicated than it is. When you hear this rhythm, gallop. There's a slight variation there as well. So in the first verse, how we had here we just said something along the lines of back to that theme from before. This bit I always love, this bit from Dave Murray here. So in terms of the theory, we're still in E minor here. He's on his neck pickup, so you're getting that kind of creamy, slightly eerie tone, almost a bit like Sweet Child of Mine, you know, the intro to that. And what he's playing here, you got the root, fifth, second, third, and this sequence of notes just gives this sense kind of unease, some sort of tension building, and to me it really connotes the imagery of like grains of sand going through a time glass. It's just a genius bit of writing on their part. And here, again, it's the same sort of idea. We're playing with these notes. You know, the same shapes we've been using before, but arranged again in a different way to just add a bit more variation to this kind of simple theme they've been working up. So at its core, this is an E minor to a D. So what was it? Yeah. See, although you've got these little fills in between, these cool little... You're basically going from an E minor to a D. So it's really anchoring the tonality again in an E minor, E natural minor. So this is really different from the studio solo. This is incredibly cool. Let's break some of this stuff down. Right, so he's bending on what we'd have there, an A up to a B, so the fourth up to the fifth. And there he's doing this kind of Dave Murray. Covered this before in loads of his stuff, so you can get it with the eye up there. But he's basically going between a B to a C, so you got the 5 to the flat 6, back down to that 4, and that's where he's getting some of this eerie tension from. He's really leaning into the... He went into the blues note there, excellent. He does that in Afraid to Shoot Strangers, so that's one of the aforementioned licks there. So taking the same idea, the semitone move, but moved from the 12th fret and the 13th down to this 10th to 11th, and you're getting this. And in terms of theory, it still works, because this note here, this B flat, or if you want to think of it as an A sharp, is the blues note, so we're kind of used to hearing that even in kind of a rock or hard rock context. Brought his wah pedal over the top here, so you hear that awesome sweep he's doing through with EQ. So Janick there going for the flat 7th, bending it up to the root, just letting you know we're in E minor. Really, really nailing it in there. And that's a shape he likes quite a bit as well. So it's quite like Richie Blackmore. If I got any cards left, I'll link to what I'm talking about with the eye up there. But you know how we're having these other riffs where we're using the notes here? It's the same idea. He's kind of just kind of messing about. So that scale pattern, which I have broken down in a How to Write Like Iron Maiden video. If I've got any cards left, again, I'll link to it up there. But basically 7th fret on the A, 4, 5, 7 on the D, and again, same 4, 5, 7 on the G. So if you want to write Iron Maiden riffs, it's great for that. If you want this kind of Janick, great for that too. Cool, so there I'm going to pull that back. I think he used the blues note as well. Cool, yeah, what I think he was doing there was bending the blues note a tiny bit sharp. Yeah, so the 15th fret on the G string, and bending that sharp just like a quarter tone, tiny bit sour, 12th fret on the B, hammer onto 15, pull off. So you're doing tiny bend, trill. Quite Michael Schenker sounding actually. Cool, so we had a really yearning bend. So there he's taking the flat 3rd and bending up to the 4th. So it's creating a bit of tension. Then we're getting this full on shred thing, which is... What's he doing?
Much later.
Okay, we're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to hit the settings cog. See if we can get this. Cool, so I think that's more or less it. I'm not going to break it down verbatim, but I think he's using again this B is 12th fret, 13th fret on the B string, and going between the 12 and the 15 on the E. To create this real kind of playing like a C major 7 here. Alright, so this is taking me quite a bit listening. What I think he's doing. He's messing about with these notes. So we got that C there, that 13th fret on the B, up to the 15th, up to the 17th, onto the E string, where we got 14 up to 17, and he's just kind of going at it. So totally sloppy, but that's the gist of what he's doing. So a slight correction there on the first one. I think he's probably going 13, 12, 13, 15 on the B, then to 12, 15 just on that E string. Then up. So a bit slower than the higher one. Let me know whether this is useful or if the guitar stuff's totally pointless and you prefer them separate. Just trying a different format here. Put it back on full speed out of Talpay. Right, cool. So there we're just kind of vamping on the E. And again, just kind of sticking, riffing around that E. Got the E, the third, back to the root, flat 7th. And I think at some point they go to the third. Third harmony is, of course, really typical of Iron Maiden. Cool. And again, it's a variation. We're using that same thing, but what they're doing, but harmonizing it, which makes it a whole different texture. It feels totally different to how it did before. Again, same progression. E minor, C, D. So there'll be your 6-4-5 progression, and then we've got this really cool riff again. Slight change of the harmony here. We're going from an E down to a D. There's the D. To the C, up to D, I think. Cool, and that little Dave Murray there, very Dave Murray thing to do, hanging on the ninth. So he's got the flat third, that 15th fret on the E, little trill, pull off to the 12, back to the 14. So that kind of 12, 14, 15 is all you're using there. What he's doing, trilling down using this kind of little slide, but this time going to the 5th of E, so a bit more consonant than the 2nd. And just some good rock and roll noises to round it out here. Right, what is that final? Yeah, just a little unison rhythm on that E to wrap it all up. Cool, if you want more Iron Maiden stuff, check out the video there, or if you want more reactions or kind of critiques where I normally do the playing at the end, check out that. Do the subscribe, enable notifications, all that wonderful stuff. But have a good one, guys. Take it easy.